Level 1, the first $1,000. It's a comma, a tiny curved punctuation mark that changes the entire sentence of your life. You look at the mobile app, and there it is. 4 digits. You've spent months, maybe years, living in the 3-digit basement where every bill is a high-stakes poker game. But now, you have $1,000. You expect to feel powerful. You don't. You feel hunted. You're walking through a world made of glass, and you're the only one carrying a hammer you didn't ask for. Every weird vibration in the steering wheel isn't just a car part. It's a $600 predator waiting to eat your comma. Every dull ache in your molar isn't just a cavity. It's a $400 threat to your new identity. You check the app at 11 p.m. You check it again at 7 a.m. You aren't checking to see if it grew. You're checking to see if the world stole it while you were sleeping. The bank doesn't send you letters yet. To the bank, you are still background noise. You are a low-balance transactor, a category of human being that exists solely to provide the institution with $2.50 swipe fees and the occasional $35 overdraft if you trip. They don't want to talk to you. They want you to use the ATM and stay away from the tellers. Tellers cost money. ATMs just take it. You think you've started the journey. The bank thinks you're still at the starting line, waiting for your shoes to be tied. At this level, saving isn't math. It's nerves. It's the ability to sit in a room with a $1,000 shield and not trade it for a $1,000 dopamine hit. Your friends are going out. They see your comma because you let it slip in conversation, and they assume you're good for it. They don't see the fragility. They don't see that your $1,000 is actually just a down payment on the next disaster. You learn the first hard truth. The poorer you are, the more expensive it is to exist. Level 2, $5,000. The noise in your head changes. It's no longer a scream, it's a hum. This is the emergency fund level, the one the gurus talk about, but it doesn't feel like a fund. It feels like a cage. You've worked 400 hours of overtime to stack these bricks, and now you're terrified to move a single one. The check engine light comes on. In level 1, this was a panic attack. In level 2, it's an inconvenience. That is the greatest luxury money buys, the transition from catastrophe to annoyance. You pay the mechanic $800. You watch the balance drop to $4,200. It hurts. It feels like a physical wound. You realize that you've become attached to the number. The number has become your scoreboard for how safe you are in a cold universe. The bank starts to notice you now, not through a human being, but through the algorithm. The algorithm sees a consistent balance of 5,000. It starts to trigger soft offers. You open your app and a banner appears. You're pre-approved for the gold card. They see you have a surplus. The system is designed to detect a surplus and immediately provide a vacuum. They want to give you a $10,000 limit because they know you have $5,000 to pay them back if you fail. They aren't betting on your success. They are hedging against your discipline. You start to notice the lifestyle creep shadows. Your shoes look a little more worn than they did when you had $1,000. Your phone is a generation behind. The world senses your $5,000 and it begins to tilt. Targeted ads for the vacation you deserve start finding you. The algorithm knows you're tired. It knows you've been sacrificing. It offers you a way to trade your progress for a week of pretending you've already won. You realize that keeping $5,000 is actually harder than making it. Level 3, $10,000. You've hit the wall. Most people who start saving stop here. They stop because $10,000 is the most dangerous amount of money in the world. It's enough to buy a version of a good life that acts as a trap. It's the down payment on the BMW that will ensure you never see $20,000. It's the luxury watch that tells everyone you're successful while ensuring your bank account is empty. At $10,000, you feel like a king in a room of peasants, but you're actually just a peasant in a room of knights. The bank sends you platinum offers now. The envelopes are thicker. The paper is matte finish. They want to move you into their select tier. They want to turn your stagnant savings into their active interest. They offer you a 1.2% savings rate like they're doing you a favor while they lend your money out at 19% to the person at level 1. You see the hierarchy clearly for the first time. You are the liquidity. Your $10,000 is sitting in a vault, metaphorically allowing the bank to breathe. And for the privilege of holding your air, they give you a plastic card with a shiny finish and a thank you for being a member since... This is where the psychological shift happens. You either decide that $10,000 is a lot of money and you spend it, or you realize that $10,000 is actually nothing and you double down. You look at your peers. They are upgrading their lives. You are still driving the car with the dent in the door. You are still wearing the same jacket. You start to look poor to the people around you precisely because you are starting to become wealthy. Level 4, $25,000. The invisible strings start to show. You stop thinking about what money can buy and start thinking about what money can earn. This is the investor's inflection. You look at a $150 dinner and you don't see a steak. You see the $11 a year that $150 would have earned you in a compound interest account. You are becoming a boring person. Your family starts to make jokes. "Oh, he's too rich for us now," they say when you skip the expensive weekend trip. They don't understand that you're not skipping the trip because you can't afford it. You're skipping it because you can finally afford to say no. The bank assigns you a personal banker named Mark. Mark calls you on a Tuesday. "I just wanted to introduce myself," he says. Mark is 24 years old and wears a suit that doesn't quite fit. Mark is not your friend. Mark is a salesman whose specific quota is assets under management. He wants to move your $25,000 into a managed fund with a 1.5% fee. You do the math. Mark wants to take 30% of your gains to manage a pile of money that you worked 2,000 hours to build. You realize that the more money you have, the more people appear to help you manage it into their own pockets. You learn the second hard truth. Wealth isn't just about accumulation, it's about defense. You are now a target for every professional with a brochure. Level 5, $50,000. You are in the death valley of wealth building. You've been at this for years. The novelty of the comma is gone. The thrill of the $10,000 milestone is a distant memory. You are halfway to $100,000, but it feels like you're walking through mud. This is the level of extreme discipline. You've seen your account grow by $1,000 a month for 50 months. It's predictable. It's manual. It's exhausting. You look at the $50,000 and think, "I could buy a house. I could start the business. I could quit the job I hate." The temptation to reset is at an all-time high. But then you notice the shift. One morning, you look at your dividends or your interest. It's $200. You didn't work for that $200. You didn't trade an hour of your life for it. Your money went out into the world, put on a hard hat, and brought back $200 while you were watching Netflix. It's small. It's a drop in the bucket, but it's proof of life. You realize that your $50,000 isn't a pile of gold. It's an army of 50,000 tiny soldiers. And right now, they're just starting to win small skirmishes. You decide to stay the course. You learn that the boring middle is where the wealthy are actually made. Anyone can be disciplined for a month. Very few can be disciplined for 5 years. Level 6, $75,000. The momentum is no longer a hum, it's a roar. You notice that your account grew by $3,500 this month, but you only contributed $1,500 from your salary. The soldiers are breeding. The shift, the title promised, is now undeniable. You are no longer the primary engine of your wealth. Your capital has taken over the steering wheel. You walk into a car dealership just to look, not to buy, because you're at level 6 now, and you don't buy things to impress people. And the salesman treats you differently. He doesn't look at your shoes, he looks at your vibe. There is a quietness to someone who has $75,000 in liquid cash. It's the quietness of someone who doesn't need the deal. The bank flags you as a high-value client. When you call the customer service line, you don't hear the hold music for 40 minutes. A person answers on the third ring. "Good afternoon. How can we help you today?" They offer to waive your wire fees. They offer to overnight you a new card for free. The irony is like salt in a wound. When you were at level 1 and a $35 fee was a tragedy, they wouldn't give you an inch. Now that a $35 fee is a rounding error you wouldn't even notice, they are desperate to take it away. You realize the system is built to reward those who don't need the reward. The world is a pay-to-play game where the entry fee is your first $75,000. Level 7, $90,000. The psychological horizon. You are $10,000 away from the six-figure mark. You become a monk. You stop eating out entirely. You cancel the last 2 streaming services. You are obsessed. You aren't doing it for the money. You're doing it for the one. You want to see that digit change. You realize that $100,000 is a gate. On the other side of that gate, the math changes. At 7% interest, $10,000 earns you $700. But at $100,000, that same 7% earns you $7,000. That's a used car every year. That's a month of luxury every year for free. You realize that the impossible part of the first $100,000 was never the money. It was the one shift in your identity. You no longer see yourself as a consumer. You see yourself as a sovereign entity. You don't look at a job as how I pay my bills. You look at a job as the capital injector for my machine. You find yourself at a party. Someone is bragging about their new $60,000 truck. You look at them and you don't feel jealous. You feel a strange kind of pity. You see the chains they just locked around their own neck. You realize that you have $90,000 of fuck you in your pocket, and they have $60,000 of please boss, I need this job. Level 8, $100,000. The refresh. You sit at your desk at 11:45 p.m. on a Friday. Your final paycheck of the month just cleared. You hit the refresh button on the browser, $100,000.12. You wait for the fireworks. You wait for the feeling of making it. But the room is silent. The only sound is the hum of your refrigerator. You go to the kitchen and pour a glass of water. You look in the mirror. You're the same person. You have the same scars, the same worries, the same favorite t-shirt. But as you stand there, the shift finally lands. The first $100,000 felt impossible because you were trying to get there using the rules of level 1. You thought it would take more work, but it didn't take more work. It took more waiting. The bank calls. It's not Mark. It's David. David is a senior vice president of private wealth. David doesn't ask if you want a credit card. David asks if you've considered tax-advantaged trust structures. He asks if you want to attend a private dinner with other high net worth individuals. You realize that you have just been invited to a different version of Earth. On this Earth, money is a tool, not a master. On this Earth, people aren't hustling for rent. They are positioning for growth. The most profound realization hits you. The system wasn't broken when you were broke. It was working perfectly. It was designed to filter out the impulsive, the impatient, and the undisciplined. It charged you $35 fees to see if you would learn. It ignored your phone calls to see if you would quit. You look back at your level 1 self, the person crying